I call to order the Board of Education meeting 1609. 2.0. Dr. Lake, do we have any changes to the agenda?
We do not.
Okay. 3.0 is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
Was that Julia? Rachel. Okay. And second was Jen. Okay. We have a motion by Rachel and a second by Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Sorry, I had to count because we have two missing. So, all right, motion passes 5-0. All right, Pledge of Allegiance. We'll have our Kinnerly kids come up front and start the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
Whenever you guys are ready, start us out. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. 4.0 is special recognitions, learning report, and student representative report. So 4.01, Kinnerly Elementary special recognitions. Tonight, we would like to recognize Kinnerly Elementary. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Thomas and Ms. McCarthy to present their recognitions.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to recognize Mrs. Shana Pata. She is our 23-24 Teacher of the Year. And so we have some things we'd like to share with you. So Mrs. Pata is an exceptional elementary teacher whose dedication and passion for education inspires everyone around her. She is an outstanding teammate, fostering a collaborative and positive work environment while building remarkable rapports with her students and parents. Mrs. Pata consistently goes above and beyond, bringing out the best in her students, encouraging their growth and understanding and unwavering support. Her commitment extends beyond the classroom as she has served in leadership roles, contributing to district initiatives, and volunteering her time after school for after-school activities. Always putting students first, thank you, Mrs. Pata. She embodies the qualities of an extraordinary educator and is truly a gift to our school community. So, Mrs. Pata, thank you very much. Come on up, Mrs. Pata.
Let's go back a little bit here so we can take a picture.
Yes.
So, Shana, we have for you a certificate here recognizing you as Teacher of the Year.
Okay, and the next person we're going to recognize, unfortunately, she cannot be here, but it's our 23-24 Support Staff Person of the Year, which is Margot Sample. And I'm going to say a couple words about Margot. Margot is a quiet and steady presence in our building for our staff and students. She works in the office assisting our administrative assistant with attendance daily, works with students during lunch and recess, and is ready to assist anyone at any time. She finds a way to connect with staff and kids each day. She does not want fanfare and does not always think that what she's doing is a big deal, but it is. She notices nuances in recess socializing and steps in to help students who don't yet have the skill set which matches their peers. She makes sure that all students are included in games at recess and that there is an equal and fair opportunity for our kids. She's a great example of doing the right thing and doing good for good's sake. So thank you to Margot.
Same thing, so certificate and gift certificate to the online store if you guys will give her that.
And now we'd like to recognize some of our students at Kinnerly Elementary School. I would like to recognize Simone Neese. Unfortunately, Simone is not feeling well today, so she wasn't at school today, and Mom didn't want to bring her to the board meeting to make sure that everyone stays healthy, right? So thank you, Mom, but still would like to recognize Simone. Here we go. So Simone is an extraordinary student whose hard work and dedication makes her stand out among her peers. She's a positive role model who lights up the room with her constant smile, spreading encouragement wherever she goes. Simone's commitment to her schoolwork is truly inspiring. She demonstrates a love for learning and determination to excel. She's always eager to help her classmates and teachers, showing kindness and thoughtfulness in everything that she does. With her wonderful demeanor and perseverance, Simone is a remarkable student and a great friend to all, and we are so super proud of her. So let's give Simone a big round of applause, even though she's not here.
Okay, and I'd like to introduce fourth grader Jabril Mahmoud. Come on, Jabril. Jabril is the kind of student every teacher hopes to have in their classroom. Always striving to do the right thing, he sets an example for his peers with his unwavering integrity and positive attitude. Whether it's a challenging math problem or a creative writing assignment, Jabril approaches his schoolwork with diligence and determination, ensuring every task is completed to the best of his ability. Beyond academics, Jabril's kindness shines in his interactions with others. He's always willing to lend a helping hand, offer a word of encouragement, or simply share a smile. His perseverance and genuine compassion make him a valued member of our school community. Come on up here.
Jabril, you don't get to tell me that. You gotta
Come on, buddy.
Okay, and 4.02 is the Kennerly Elementary Learning Report. And Mr. Thomas and Ms. McCarthy will educate us on what y'all been doing.
Excellent, yeah. Okay, perfect. I didn't know if you wanted me to use that one or this one. Okay, thank you. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share some of the amazing highlights that's happening at Kennerly Elementary School. We are excited to share the 23-24 iReady results, showcasing the significant growth in our K-5 students' mathematical abilities. The iReady assessment evaluates students in 4 key areas: numbers and operations, algebra and algebraic thinking, measurement and data, and geometry. Kennerly's overall student performance increased with the percentage of students performing on or above grade level rising from 31% to 73%. Equally notable is the decrease of students performing 2 or 3 grade levels below, which dropped from 13% to just 4%. The most significant growth was observed with our kindergarten and 4th grade students. Kindergarten increased from 23% to 82% on or above grade level, and 4th grade students increased from 41% to 86% on or above grade level. The yellow bar highlights students that are making strong progress and are approaching mastery and grade level standards. This success is attributed to the dedication of our teachers who collaborate in professional learning communities to analyze both formal and informal data, best shared practices, and personalized instruction, meeting the needs of our students.
The two graphs displayed here highlight our CBM data for 2nd and 3rd grade, which measure word accuracy and pace, key components that support reading comprehension. Fluency acts as the crucial bridge between learning to read and reading to learn. In 2nd grade, the average words per minute increased from 76 in the fall to 111 by the spring, with only 14% of students classified as at risk by the end of the year. As well as 3rd grade students demonstrated growth, with their average words per minute rising from 110 in the fall to 137 in the spring, reducing the percentage of at-risk students to just 7%. This represents remarkable growth, especially considering that the FastBridge success measures become progressively more challenging throughout the year. This demonstrates the exceptional efforts of our second and 3rd grade teachers in closing substantial learning gaps for our students. In light of this success, we have raised our Compass Plan goal from 80% to 85%, reflecting our commitment to even higher levels of achievement.
Thank you. Student-friendly proficiency skills are essential for helping students evaluate their knowledge and understanding in a clear, meaningful way. These skills simplify complex standards into language that students can easily grasp, enabling them to assess their progress with confidence. By engaging in these skills, students can reflect on their learning, celebrating their achievements, and identifying specific areas of growth. This process not only promotes self-awareness, but also instills a sense of ownership and responsibility for their learning, fostering personal growth. Teachers also utilize these same skills to evaluate students' performance and provide targeted feedback. When students compare their self-assessments with teacher feedback, they gain valuable insight into their progress toward mastery. This alignment helps students understand exactly what they learned and what steps they need to take to close any learning gaps, promoting a deeper and more meaningful connection with their academic goals.
At Kennerly, we seamlessly integrate the Lindbergh Life success skills into our daily routines. One key example is our student leadership jobs, which offer 5th graders the opportunity to apply for various roles within the school. These roles include announcement leaders, morning greeters, and PR leaders, all of which embody the core components of the Lindbergh Life success skills. Another initiative worth highlighting is the executive functioning skills groups led by our counselors. Using SABRE's data, they identified students in need of support and conducted surveys to pinpoint specific areas for improvement. These groups focus on essential skills such as attention, task initiation and completion, time management, and organization. Meeting weekly for 30-minute sessions, this program aligns closely with the Lindbergh Life success skills, particularly in fostering work ethic and effort.
Next slide, please. Thank you. Every 4 weeks, our MTSS, our multi-tiered system support team, collaborates with grade level teams to listen, share strategies, provide support, and other insights on effective supporting students' academic, social, and emotional needs. Recently, our MTSS team analyzed data and identified growing needs for support in classroom management across grade levels. To address this, the team developed a survey for K-5 teachers to better understand their specific challenges. Based on the survey results, our MTS team is partnering with our instructional coaches to deliver tailored professional learning opportunities aligned with the unique needs of each grade level team. This information reflects the characteristics of highly qualified teachers because we are committed to collaboration, we use data to address needs, and we focus on professional growth.
At Kennerly, we pride ourselves on being a family. Our well-being advocate organizes a variety of engaging activities designed to meet the diverse interests of our staff. From group walks and crafting sessions to coloring activities and athletic events, there's something for everyone to enjoy. In addition, our social team plays a key role in fostering a positive climate and culture within the school. They plan fun and exciting events such as December fun dress-up days, a turkey scavenger hunt, and much more to bring joy and connection to our staff. This school year, we introduced the Teacher and Staff of the Month program to celebrate the incredible contributions of our team. Staff members can nominate their colleagues, and each month, 2 individuals are recognized during our staff meeting. Every nominee receives a heartfelt note sharing the kind words their colleagues have written about them, ensuring everyone feels appreciated and valued.
At Kinderly, we offer a number of opportunities to ensure student satisfaction. Each month, teachers select a student from their class who exemplifies our Lindbergh Life Success skills. Teachers notify parents through email sharing reasons for their child's recognition, such as demonstrating perseverance, showing great citizenship, or maintaining a positive attitude. Each student of the month has their picture taken and proudly displayed on the community board, showcasing their achievement for all Kinderly to celebrate. Another way we celebrate students is at the end of each trimester, students in every classroom have an opportunity to earn a growth award. Growth is recognized in various areas, such as academics, behavior, emotional resilience, or adopting a can-do attitude. During our trimester assembly, students are celebrated and their names are announced, and they receive their special award highlighting their success and progress. Lastly, Kinderly Kudos are special recognition awards given by staff members to students who go above and beyond. Whether it's helping students or helping others, being a friend, demonstrating determination, or serving as a role model, these moments of excellence are celebrated. When a Kinderly Kudo is awarded, students choose either to have a phone call home to share the achievement with their parents, invite the principal to their classroom to read, or take a picture that is shared with on our Kinderly display community board. At Kinderly, we love celebrating our awesome student success.
During the 23-24 school year, our fourth grade team implemented flexible groupings across their grade level. This approach supported the MTSS mindset of collective responsibility by providing students with instruction tailored to their unique learning needs. As Mr. Thomas previously highlighted, the fall iReady diagnostic showed that 41% of fourth grade students were performing at or above grade level. By spring, that number had risen to 86%. When these students began fifth grade and took their iReady diagnostic, 60% were already at or above the fifth grade level. This assessment serves as an end-of-the-year outcome measure, making it particularly noteworthy that 60% of students are already performing at grade level at the start of the academic year. This data clearly demonstrated that flexible groupings not only supported significant growth during fourth grade, but also helped students retain their math knowledge. After reviewing the fourth grade data, Mr. Thomas and I recognized the impact of flexible groupings in their value in enhancing student outcomes. As a result, we are extending this practice to all grade levels. Each grade level team will now incorporate flexible groupings into their instructional plans at least once per trimester.
Thank you for the chance to highlight some incredible support systems and growth opportunities we have at Kinderly. We are incredibly proud of the efforts of our students and staff, as well as the strong partnerships we built with our Kinderly community. Lastly, I would also like to thank the board for providing a full-time assistant principal at Long, Kinderly, and Crestwood. Having this additional support has been invaluable in better serving our students and staff. The presence of a full-time collaborative partner allows us to provide more effective feedback, analyze data, and talk to implement strategies directly that impact student success and our overall school improvement. Your commitment to providing our school in this way is greatly appreciated, so thank you very much. Any questions for Kinderly?
None? Thank you all so very much. We appreciate it. And good job. Okay. We have one more part. 4.03 is Student Board Representative Report. And Laura, would you do the honors?
Okay, so before I start, I'd just like to acknowledge that this is going to be my last student report as the student representative on our board. Next month, RJ is going to be taking my role, providing a student's perspective on, hi RJ, on all the topics our board discusses and advocating for the needs of our students. I'm very, very grateful to have had the opportunity to serve on the board and work alongside everyone here, and I'm positive that RJ will do an amazing job as the next student representative. So going on to some activities going on at the high school, we had 5 students get accepted into the 2025 All-State Honor Concert Band, Jazz Band, and Orchestra. including 2 students getting first chair in their section, essentially meaning that they are the best at their instrument in the entire state of Missouri out of everyone who auditioned. On a similar note, we had 5 students get into the 2025 All-State Orchestra, and they will be performing at the Missouri Music Educators Association Conference in January. This past weekend, we had a couple of high schoolers volunteer at Kennerly's Holidays Around the World event, where they celebrated different cultural holidays from around the world, like Diwali, Lunar New Year, and Dia de los Muertos, and they helped educate younger students about what those holidays mean to them. Moving on, as we all know, this week is finals week at the high school, and although we're all very much looking forward to winter break, we just have to get through these rough days of testing, but luckily, some student organizations have been working hard to try and ease the stress of this week. Student Council recently hosted a student trivia night where students were able to relax and just answer questions about pop culture, Lindbergh history, and other fun topics. Additionally, our Link Crew leaders teamed up with upperclassmen volunteers to host their annual Cocoa and Cram, where they guide freshman students through their first high school finals week by helping them look over all of the materials for their classes. And then finally, our CHADS ambassadors have held de-stress days after school, where students are welcome to sit back and do some relaxing activities before finals. And as we approach, why did I say that weird? Sorry. The beginning of second semester, our second cohort of AP research students will they'll begin collecting and analyzing data for their studies. With twice as many students taking AP research compared to last year, there are a wide variety of topics being explored. Some of these topics include studying the lasting impacts of redlining in St. Louis County on public school funding, looking at the long-lasting effects of exposure to nuclear radiation in North County, the impacts of eating chocolate before finals on student stress levels, and of course, I have to mention my own research topic, studying the implications of poor racial representation in Netflix original romantic comedies. Basically, I will be watching every Netflix original romantic comedy. But I just wanted to share some of these to emphasize just how important programs like this are to the academic and intellectual development of our students, because when they take classes like AP Capstone, AP Seminar, AP Research, they're really encouraged to find what they're passionate about, learn more about it, and really make a difference, even if that means watching every movie ever. And then finally, last week, RJ and I visited Kennerly Elementary School, and this this student representative advisory was conducted slightly differently from our usual format. Instead of jumping from topic to topic, we decided to focus on just one topic for the entire meeting, and what better topic to discuss than every elementary schooler's favorite subject, lunch. We talked about the presence of foods from other cultures in their cafeteria. Some examples that they listed off included quesadillas, orange chicken, and Hawaiian pizza. After that, we talked about what kinds of options they'd like to see in their cafeteria, and they brought up wanting to see more Chinese food, dishes featuring rice, and a couple other specific ethnic cuisines that they'd like to see that they think would be relatively easy to obtain. And then after that, we had a pretty substantial discussion about the importance of seeing different cultures represented in the food served in the cafeteria. The students talked about how being exposed to different foods at a young age could lead to them being more open-minded in general, which is a trait that they'd hypothetically carry for the rest of their lives. And it was really nice to hear what the kids had to say about this topic. Normally, when we talk about school lunches, it's kind of just like, my milk was frozen, or I want more lunch. But this was definitely a very thoughtful meeting with a lot of substantial commentary. So that's all I have.
Thank you. At this time, we will take a short break, and for those of you who would like to leave and not stay for the rest of our business meeting, you are more than welcome to go. So, and we wish you happy holidays. Thank you for being here. I would have another child just because Okay, we'll resume our meeting. 5.0 resolutions, there are none for this evening. 6.0 citizen communication on agenda items, there's none for this evening. 7.0 is communications, calendar of events. Mr. Alonso is filling in for Ms. Vetter this evening. Would you like to read through the calendar of events?
I would. So here's some district events for this month. Tomorrow, December 20th, is a half day of school for all students. Winter break is December 23rd through January the 3rd, with school resuming on Monday, January 6th. The Board of Education candidate filing ends at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, December 31st. The Teaching and Learning Advisory meeting will be on January 7th. Student Life Advisory will meet on January 9th. There is a Lindbergh Communications Planning Committee meeting on January 13th and a Finance Advisory meeting on January 14th. And then we're right back here again on January 16th for a board workshop and a board meeting.
Thank you. 7.02 is report of meetings. This is the time when board members can report out of other meetings they've attended, either state or parent group. Anyone?
I feel like this month's usually kind of slow for those kinds of events between Thanksgiving and winter break.
I agree. Okay. 7.03 announcements. Mr. Alonso.
Yeah, so back to that candidate filing, which is open now. There's filing for 2 seats on the Lindbergh Schools Board of Education. It opened on December the 10th, Tuesday, December 10th, and it will close at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, December 31st. Anyone interested in filing must do so in person at the St. Louis County Board of Elections office. Their address is 725 Northwest Plaza Drive in St. Anne, Missouri. Check the Lindbergh Schools website for more information if you're interested.
Okay. And at this time, I would like to thank Laura. So on behalf of the entire district, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks for the exceptional service you've provided as student board representative. Your leadership in organizing and leading the monthly meetings with the student representative board advisory students from the different schools, elementary, middle school, and high school, have fostered important connections and opened valuable lines of communications for our student voices. Your thoughtful and detailed reports at board meetings show just how committed you are, and the way you speak so clearly and confidently, not like me, getting all choked up, for the students is remarkable. And we are grateful for your service and wish you all the best as you finish your senior year. And good luck to you. I hope you get the college you're looking for. Okay, we're going to do a picture with Laura. Okay, second announcement is the 2025 student representative to the Board of Education, R.J. Delisario, has been selected. The Lindbergh Schools Board of Education is pleased to announce that RJ Delisario has been selected as the 2025 student representative. RJ will officially join the board and sit here at the dais in January for our board meeting. As the new student representative, RJ will have a seat at the board dais, I already read that, providing valuable student perspective on issues impacting the district. He will also engage with students throughout the Student Advisory Committee, same as Laura, planning meetings and ensuring that our student voices are heard. Please join us in welcoming RJ to this important role. We're excited to hear from you as well. Are we doing a picture with this one? Nope, next one? Okay.
No, you don't
just
get a
checking.
picture until we decide you are good enough to get a picture.
Next one. All right, 7.04 is a review of upcoming Board of Education meeting agendas. Mr. Alonso.
Yes, so we meet again on Thursday, January 16th for a board workshop and a board meeting. The cabinet will present a Compass update at the board workshop. And then some of our regular meeting agenda items may include just the regular business items, announcement of the Board of Education candidates because it will be closed at that point. And then we will recognize Long Elementary School and they will present their learning report. And these meetings are open to the public and everyone is encouraged to attend.
Thank you. 7.05 is the MSBA board report, and I believe we will watch that now.
Edition of the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report. 2024 marked another year of AI continuing to transform classrooms. Over the past year, AI has become more than just a buzzword. It has become an integral part of the learning experience in many of our schools. Teachers are harnessing AI-powered tools to personalize education, tailoring lessons to meet each student's unique needs. In October, the Raymore Peculiar School District hosted an AI and Innovation Summit designed for educators, administrators, and tech enthusiasts to discover the latest advancements in AI for education and to explore practical applications. Raymore Peculiar Board President and MSBA immediate past President Ruth Johnson said that artificial intelligence is a topic that school boards need to address.
Well, we need to care because whether we like it or not, AI is here. It's been here. So how can we best utilize it as a tool with our teachers to help educate the students at all levels?
Emily Craig is an English teacher at Ray-Pec High School, and she says that having students involved in the process of integrating and questioning AI tools is an example of real-world learning that can help them in future careers.
You know, we always talk about what are those invaluables, those skills that students are going to need no matter what they're doing. And AI, real world learning, soft skills, all of those are going to be like how to manage and adapt are all going to be skills that kids are going to need no matter what they're doing. And so I think teaching them tools, learning how to question tools and also like embrace them, but also critique them in that process is going to be a lifelong skill no matter what they're doing.
Raymore Peculiar High School Assistant Principal Stephen Meek says that AI is a disruptor in education, but in a positive way.
We're always looking for disruptors, whether we want to believe it or not. We're always looking for disruptors in education to figure out how can we disrupt the classic, traditional education that has been going on in schools for the last 20, 30, 40 years. And I really hope that AI is going to be that disruptor so we can say, okay, let's stop doing this learning that we can easily create through AI, and let's start moving it to, things that like much more project-based, much more learning that students are going to need for the 21st, in the 21st century. Let's start figuring out like those types of things that makes learning more engaging, more fun, and we move away from that rote memorization.
During MSBA's AI Symposium, held in conjunction with the MSBA Annual Conference in Kansas City, students had a chance to speak to the audience about the ways that they use AI during a panel discussion. They stressed the real-world applications of AI and how schools can help prepare students.
I think that in the world we're going to live in the future, AI is going to be a huge part of that. So by outright saying it's cheating and allowing no AI, we're doing a disservice to our students, and we're almost handicapping them for the future. I do think that there is a line though where cheating can be seen, but that can be very, very much kind of minimized through changing your curriculum a little bit to like integrate AI and generative AI into it, or changing almost the assignments you're asking or what you're necessarily testing on, so that it's harder to use AI as an end-all be-all answer, and AI is less of I'll just plug in and get 100, and more of I'll use AI to help me get towards that answer, get towards my finished product.
If it was up to me, I think AI should be used regularly, because in the real world, you're going to use AI, and AI is already used in so much stuff. It's not like it's just going to randomly be deleted, because it's basically used for almost anything and everything nowadays.
With new information coming out seemingly daily, it's difficult to stay on top of a topic as complex as artificial intelligence. MSBA is here to help. From beginner to advanced, MSBA's AI Toolkit for K-12 education is a great resource for topics ranging from AI policies and procedures and security concerns to ethics and equity. The toolkit is available on the MSBA website and is updated often. If you're still feeling unsure about the emergence of artificial intelligence or not sure where to start, MSBA has a webinar for you coming soon. The webinar is titled AI in Education, What School Leaders Need to Know, and it's being held Monday, January 13th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. MSBA's AI team will provide a balanced approach to the subject, highlighting both the positive and negative aspects of AI. The webinar is free for MSBA member districts. When you register for the webinar, make sure to submit questions and topics that you would like to see addressed. And as we head into 2025, make sure to mark your calendar for MSBA's Advocacy Day on March 11th, Summer Summit June 16th through the 18th, and the 2025 MSBA Annual Conference October 23rd through the 25th. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thank you for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and thank you for your dedication and the amazing work that you've done throughout all of 2024. We'll see you in January 2025 for the next MSBA Board Report.
Okay, next is 8.0 special reports. 8.01 is cabinet updates. And Joelle, would you like to go first?
Since the last board meeting, we did have our facilities advisory group met, and you're going to see a lot of results on this board meeting. You can see we've done a lot of work for the prop stuff, and there's going to be a lot of construction activity when we come back in 2025 or while we're gone. So we went through each item that is also reflected on the board agenda. So there's a lot happening in that area. Then we also had our finance committee meeting this week, and we went over the same items which are on the board agenda. A lot happening in the area of construction, and that's about it. So good meetings.
Okay, Dr. Sparks?
Student Life has not met since our last meeting. However, Teaching and Learning did meet earlier in December. One of the things that Teaching and Learning Board Advisory is doing this year is their feedback loop with our 8th through 12th grade standards-based learning task force. So we really focused in on the way they can contribute to the work of the task force at this last meeting. Specifically, the task force was interested in the development of a student and parent survey around standards-based learning. So we used the board advisory to create the questions. You've likely seen those in your e-notes that we are requesting parent input for parents of students in grades 2nd through 7th. Those will be accessible until January 7th when we'll close the survey. And then we also have students in 4th through 7th grade who we are asking to take the survey. And then we have teachers as well who are taking a survey. So we'll use that data to support our task force work. Additionally, we started creating some priorities that we would like to see as a part of the task force. So we will, when the task force meets on January 13th, we will take those priorities that were developed by the Teaching and Learning Board Advisory and use those to start our conversation about the priorities of the Standards-Based Learning Task Force.
Thank you. Mr. Dominic Jaggi?
Our Technology Board Advisory, Colin did a presentation on AI, and he showed what we're doing with Securely AI, what we're doing with the students. So our media specialists are doing some training on that with our students. He also showed since May of last year when we started the Securely AI, we have about 1.5 million prompts that our students have put into AI. He showed some examples too. So what's kind of cool about Securely AI is that it doesn't just give you the answers. It goes through it and kind of shows you why you got to that answer. So it's kind of cool for our students to see that. And then for our teachers, he's been evaluating some software. So he's talked to several companies, we've been evaluating software, and we're hoping that we can get some piloting, to do some pilot this year on software for our teachers so we can start training them on it and have that implemented for next year. And then he gave them our board policies, since, like you said, the MSBA is constantly changing. That's all we're talking about is AI. So we gave the AI board policy to them and had them review it again so they could give us some feedback on it to see if we need to make any changes to it.
Very good. 9.0, action items by consent. We have action items by consent, 9.01 to 9.17 this evening. Does anybody wish to remove any of these items for individual consideration? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve consent items 9.01 to 9.17?
I need to abstain.
So moved.
Rachel?
Second.
And Matt is a second, and Julia is abstaining. We have a motion by Rachel, a second by Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Before we move on, I want to point out that we have a public gift in our board docs this evening to the school, and we want to thank the Crestwood Sunset Hills Rotary Club for their generous donation. 10.0, individual action items. We have 3 this evening. So 10.01 is Watson Support Services Building Remodel. Do I have a motion to approve the base bid price from Wachter Incorporated of $2,242,224 for the Watson Support Services Building Remodel as presented?
So moved.
Jen?
Second.
Motion. Do I have a second? Julia? Okay. We have a motion by Jen, a second by Julia. Any questions?
I would just like to thank everybody who works there for their patience and, and how long it has taken to get this done.
I just was wondering if we could have any more 4s or 2s in there. I'm just kidding.
We want to keep you on your toes.
Yes, I see that. No, this is exciting. This is very exciting. It allows us to shift many departments and get them settled, and so appreciate this. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 0. Motion passes 5-0. 10.02 is approval of the Construction Management at Risk, CMAR, BSI Guaranteed Maximum Price, GMP Amendment to Contract. This is the Truman Bid Packet 1. Do I have a motion to approve the BSI GMP Amendment of $5,091,500 for Truman Middle School Bid Packet 1, funded through the 2024 Proposition R bond proceeds, and authorize the administration to negotiate and enter into a contract as presented?
So moved.
Second.
And Rachel is my second. We have a motion by Matt and a second by Rachel. Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes 5-0. 10.03, 2025-26 LHS Navigator. Do I have a motion to approve the 2025-26 Navigator as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Julia is the motion, Jen is a second. Any questions?
I had a question. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit behind why there was a decision to remove geography.
Absolutely. So geography is a class that typically is low, it has a low request rate. This last year there were 13 students. We were able to make it into a section, but it is not consistently able to be made into a section. And what we found is with AP Human Geography and having a rich, deep learning experience around geography, having both of those was really not necessary. So between the inconsistency of students requesting the class and having a deeper, richer experience that has more rigor in AP Human Geography, just felt like it was a better option for kids moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? There's nobody over there, so just Shay.
I'm kind of excited. It's the algebra and business class combined. I think that sounds really.
I was just gonna say that, I looked at those look neat.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so AMPed is a combination of algebra and business, as you've shared, and really the students create a business. They will be working with creating t-shirts and being able to use their mathematics skills. So this really sets us up to have practical experiences for kids to apply mathematical knowledge and skills in a way that is gonna hopefully excite them around the content of algebra. So there's, and to that point, there are a lot of really exciting things on this Navigator. The addition of zoology and plant sciences really aligns with our work as we prepare for the Farmers Club. You also see the CNA, which will hold that one until the board workshop and talk about that in a little more depth. But some great opportunities that are really college and career aligned for students.
So we're not going to get the question from the algebra kids, how am I ever going to use this in my life? Is that what you're telling me? We're finally going to answer that question?
I would hope that we have answered it in this section.
Okay, so we'll at least have one example of how they can use it in their real life.
Our math teachers are very good at giving examples of that when it becomes a question.
Except when your child asks for your help and you're like, give me a half an hour so I can look at this. I haven't done it in 25 years. And they're like, see?
Well, that's when you ask ChatGPT.
It all depends on your career field too.
Exactly. So does the AMPed class replace like regular algebra class for ninth graders?
It is an alternative option.
Okay.
So it doesn't replace it. Students still have the option of taking regular Algebra 1. This is an alternative option for if they want a different type.
If you take this, you don't have to take regular
correct.
Algebra 1.
Correct. If you take AMPed, then you're not taking a separate Algebra 1 class. It would be those 2 periods together that you were taking for that credit.
And does it cover 2 class periods during
Yes.
the day? Okay.
Yes.
I have one question about so for college theater, replacing it with theater productions, is that still a dual credit class with SGLCC?
As far as I'm aware, I'll double check that, but I don't think anything was changing with the actual course other than kind of narrowing down to the focus of that production side of it.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, I will let you know.
You're welcome. Okay, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. 11.0 reports. 11.01 for the record. We have one for the record item this evening, which is 11.0101, Professional Learning Program Evaluation. If you have any questions, you may contact Dr. Sparks. 11.02 reports. We have one report this evening. 11.0201 Annual Performance Report, APR. Again, Dr. Sparks, and you're going to share something with us, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go through the presentation with you tonight. This is our annual performance report. It comes from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. As a reminder, because we are members of the Success Ready Students Network and we have a waiver, this traditional report is not our accountability tool as a district. We have created our own accountability tool through our Success Ready dashboard that is online, where it shows the growth trajectory of our student learning. It shows our graduation outcomes, our Diploma Plus, et cetera. So this is, what I'm sharing with you tonight is essentially an antiquated document, but it's also something that whenever we look at data, we look at a comprehensive amount of data. So as our Kennerly leaders were sharing with you how they look at data, this is one more piece of data in the entire conversation of our performance as a district, even though it is not our accountability tool for the state any longer. I do think it's important to note that the work that we're doing with Success Ready Students Network is going to influence, and Colin, you can go to the next slide, it will influence the next iteration of the Missouri School Improvement Program. So you can see here, this is a timeline that I've kept in this slide deck for a couple of years. Missouri School Improvement Program started in the early 90s, and then it has continued to evolve and reiterate into different formats. So we are currently in MSIP 6, working towards the development of MSIP 7 with the work of the Success Ready Students Network. And as we go to the next slide, what you can see here is our total percentage point. We are at 91.2% on our APR, and that is inclusive of student performance data with regard to the MAP test, our end of course assessments. It's also inclusive of our Success Ready students metrics, which include things like how many of our students are taking ACT, AccuPlace, or ASVAB, et cetera, and our AP offerings, our CTE offerings. When we talk about improvement plans, those are the reports that we give to the state that identify how we create systems around continuous improvement. Required documentation, this is just to hold us to make sure we meet our deadlines with the state. There must have been a challenge with that across the state, so things like Joelle's audit, making sure that those things are completed in time, as well as things that come out of our core data. And then finally, our graduation rate and follow-up data. So you'll see these pieces of evidence throughout our slide deck as we move forward. So here is the breakdown of where we are on APR for this current year. We did increase our performance by 0.1, or by 1/10 of a percentage point. Additionally, in our continuous improvement section, this is where you'll see those reports, those college career readiness standards. This is the first time we've had the ability to get full points. About 3 years ago, we wrote up some reports that the state really held, because as individual districts were on cycle to write these reports, they needed to wait until the end of the 3 years for all districts to be able to submit before they could add the full points. So last year, those points possible were out of 52. This year, they are out of 60, and we met full points there for our total, as I said earlier, of 91.2%. As we move to the next slide, I want to remind you, I spoke about this last year when we went over the APR, but I think it's really noteworthy, and it really highlights why it's so important that we are a part of the Success Ready Students Network, and we are working to revise what MSIP looks like for the future. When we're looking at growth scores, and we'll look at that in an upcoming slide, growth scores are not what we're used to seeing in tools like NWEA or FastBridge or iReady. Growth scores are really saying, Lindbergh schools, individual students, individual schools, the district as a whole, your growth looks like this over the course of a year. We're going to expect you to add to that growth the subsequent year, the next year. So what ends up happening is our target gets bigger for being able to grow student learning. So it's not a typical year of learning that we've seen previously. It's exceed that, continue to grow as a district, which is great, it's a very valuable effort, but the reality is that is not sustainable over time. So we will see, for lack of a better term, a yo-yo of our APR scores as we move from one year to the next, because the target changes. The other thing that's really noteworthy about growth scores is when we're looking at the end of course assessment. Let's take government, for example, which is an end of course assessment. There is no previous social studies score that we can use to determine growth and how students have progressed. So instead what happens is those 8th grade scores of science, math, and English language arts are used to create kind of a false narrative of this should be the type of score you get when you take EOCs in high school. Again, just things that make the current APR process challenging and somewhat inaccurate, if I'm honest. Now you might say, well, Tara, last year we had 90.3 on the APR, and you just said we're gonna yo-yo, but we went up. We went up to a 91.2. That's a 0.9 percentage point increase. It's also a 4.5% percentage point increase from where we were 2 years ago on the APR. The reason for that is because APR adjusted calculations. If we were to have the same calculations last year in our 90.3 APR that we have this year, our APR last year actually would have been 95%. The calculations changed where they used to be individual down to decimal points. For example, we might get a growth score of a 4.7. Now they're in spans, so you only get a growth score of a 3, a 6, a 9, or a 12, which is why there's a little bit of inflation in how the growth scores are calculated compared to how they were calculated last year. The other thing that's noteworthy about this particular APR is the state was having to hold the APR. If you remember, this meeting would usually, when I would talk about APR, it would usually happen January, February, March. It's because the state had to wait for data from the college career readiness assessments. Because the state was out of compliance and being able to turn around data to the schools on their APR, they have opted to, instead of using the class of 2024's data for ACT, AccuPlacer, et cetera, they are using the class of 23, which means this year's APR has year-old data, and that will continue to be the case. We'll have this lagging indicator when we look at the college and career readiness assessments, which really has an impact for us because that was an area where we were working to improve, so it will delay us seeing the results of that work. As we go to the next slide, this really just breaks down all of those numbers I was just sharing with you. So what you see in the top half of the slide are our student achievement statuses, and they're by content area, They are by all students, so total students, and then student groups break down things like students with IEPs, free and reduced lunch, different ethnic groups. So that's what you're seeing in terms of those two different categories. One thing that is notable is our MPI, which is our performance index. It's actually the exact same or higher than it was last year. Yet our growth, when you look down as we look at growth, we're either on track, approaching our target. But if you were to compare that to last year's data, you would have seen higher levels in that growth, which again speaks to this yo-yo effect. Our growth trajectory changes each year based on what we did the prior year. I would expect if we get this report again next year, which we may or may not, again, because we are not held accountable for this report, that we would see more of those areas that are hitting the target. But again, strong outcomes for our students, things that we can be proud of. Definitely, again, one more piece of information that marries with all of our work with NWEA, FastBridge, iReady, et cetera. As we go to the next slide, what you'll see here are some additional performance indicators that make up that component. The CCR assessments, that's what I was talking about, where we're going to see that lagging indicator. So we are really held at the same 5 out of 10 points that we achieved last year. Last year we did some work to really get right tests for right students. So I would anticipate that we'll see that score go up next year. This year we are having all of our students ensure that they're taking the right test. So we would, again, the following year, continue to see that grow. Again, it's just going to be lagging data. Advanced credit, we do a great job. We talk about our dual credit opportunities for kids, our AP opportunities for kids. Great job hitting those points. And then again, graduation rates, follow-up, all of those we're continuing to meet the metrics that we need to for our students. And as we go to the next slide, we start to see where those continuous improvement tools. So what I just shared were the performance indicators, those outcomes for our students. These are more those process components that we are responsible for. The fact that we have an improvement plan, which for us is our compass. That LEA response to standards, that's that 8-point piece that's been held for 3 years while they waited for all other districts to provide those supporting documents. Our culture climate survey. One thing I really want to highlight on here is we got full attendance points this year. So attendance has been a conversation we've been having since COVID, and we are chipping away at getting attendance increasing around the district. So that's something definitely to be proud of. We still have more work to do, even though the full points were allotted here. We know that there are still kids who need to have a better attendance record. As we talk about work ethic and effort, those are those skills that are essential for future success. And then you can see those required components. That is APR in a nutshell. What questions do you have for me?
So I'm just curious, do you have any indication or did they give any reason why they changed from the exact numbers to the levels? It seems to me, and I could be thinking of this wrong, that the exact numbers are more reflective than the levels.
One of the things, and I didn't include it in this year's presentation, when they switched to MSIP 6, we've changed norming. Previously, most districts were getting into the accredited with distinction range. When they changed to MSIP 6, districts weren't hitting the mark any longer. And that was not an accurate reflection of the real work that's happening. We have not suddenly become less distinct in the work that we're doing as districts. So it was really a way to try to kind of right size the fact that these scores weren't allotting with what we're seeing in other data from these different school districts.
If you remember, you may not because you weren't on the board last year, but we were one of the 2 school districts in St. Louis County or in the metro that was above 90. And then when you looked at it across the state, we were the largest district in the state that had something that was a percentage of 90%. So they saw that as, okay, we know school districts, we have some very successful school districts in St. Louis County that were like 85s, 86s, and that's not a reflection of that. And so they changed how they normed it to make it. But this system is designed to do a bell curve. So it's not like, hey, if you're a 3rd grader, this is what all 3rd graders should be meeting, and once you meet it, that's the target. That's great. They'll keep moving the goalpost, and so they just keep re-norming it. I said that nice enough, right?
Yeah,
I did.
you did
Okay,
great.
so again, we'll go back to our internal assessment, what we do with our folks, and that's the NWEA, that's the iReady, that's what that shows the growth in, it's adaptive. Even if the assessment that we're going to design for MSEP 7 will probably not be adaptive. It will happen multiple times, and we can see if we can measure some growth, but it won't be a true, we're not sure we can get a true adaptive platform. That if I'm a third grader and I keep answering questions all the way into the sixth grade, I don't know if that's in this next iteration yet or not. So, but we're still working on it, and there's 20 districts that are committed to that work, and we'll see where it goes.
Any other questions? Great. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no other 11.0 items this evening. So 12.0 is recess, so we can conduct our exec session. We've already done that. So we'll move on to 4.0 adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn meeting 1609?
So moved.
Jen is a
Second.
motion, and who's second? Rachel is a second. Okay. We have a motion by Jen, second by Rachel. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Board meeting 1609 is adjourned.